Hey everyone, Hunter here again. We're going to continue on with the next part of this masking for graphics. In the last tutorial, we made these mirror image graphics here, the masks that we're going to use. Now I'm going to use them on the side of the Porsche body. Now the one thing I would like to say before I go any further is I'm sure a lot of you guys that have a very good eye and maybe some of you that don't, have noticed that this car is not totally painted. It's not real shiny. It's kind of grainy. When we did the stripe, we got it not exactly in the center of the roof. Remember that this is not a finished model for me. This is just a body, a scrap body that I use for color experiments and odds and ends. And in this case, we're just using it for the tutorials. This is not what my models look like. I'm just using this to show the, whatever I'm doing a tutorial on, that's what I'm using these bodies for. This is definitely not a finished product. I actually had somebody that sent me a message and asked me about the paint work, the way it looked on here. And I'm like, this is not a finished body by any means. So just wanted to stress that and get that out of the way first. To tell you the truth, I've had some bodies that looked like this in my past years of modeling. When I first got back into it in about 2000, and I've had some that were actually almost finished that kind of look like this. And that's why I'm doing these tutorials, because I want to take some people that they may need some guidance here and there on things, and I try to break these down and make it as simple as I can for everybody, and to show you that building a model, you got to have some type of talent, you got to have some skill, but a lot of the techniques are very easy to learn. It just takes practice and patience. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into working on these graphics we're going to stick on the side of this car. So like I say, we're going to use I'm going to go ahead and start the graphics on the driver's side of this Porsche body. So we're going to use this first mask we have here. I think that's the one. Yeah, this is the one. We're going to use this one here with a reference mark on it. Now I'm not going to be able to put this on and show you exactly where I'm going to place it down, but I will hold it up to the camera so you can see what I've done after I get it in place. So we're just going to take the mask off of our piece of plastic we had it on. And this is the part you won't be able to see because it's going to be away from the camera, but I'll show you here in a minute what we're doing. Actually, what I'm doing right now is I'm lining up this reference mark that we have. And we're only going to spray one side of this. We're not going to do both sides. That way I can keep the video as short as as possible, and I don't bore anybody with it, or at least I hope I don't. So I'm going to get this thing rolled around here, and we'll get it stuck down, and then I'll hold it up there and show you what we're doing. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. And like I say, this is another part that I'm not going to mask off the body because I'm using very, very low air pressure. But if you was doing this on your actual model that you're going to finish, make sure you masked it off because that's going to be very, very bad if you get overspray over top of a good paint job. You don't want to really do that. So make sure you mask everything off. I'm just not doing it so we can keep the video short. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just taking a toothpick and I'm making sure that my tape is going down into the, in this case, the door jamb lines, just to make sure that it stays down there real good. And, and in another video we did burnishing with the toothpick. When you have a flat surface or a pretty flat surface like this, you can use your finger. But if you have any ups or downs or recesses, you're going to need to go in with a burnishing tool of some sort, and I use a toothpick. Okay, now, I have the mask on the body, and right here at this point on the fender, What I did with that reference mark that was on the tape, I lined it up right above the ground effect here and right at the back edge of the fender. Now, you notice that we put the reference point on this mask here. Now, what I would do is I flip the body around. I would take the reference point that's on the other piece and I would line it up at that same point. And you know, go from there. And that way you've got the mask pretty close to being mirrored image on both sides. So that's with it stuck down with the mask that we created onto the car. Now all I'm going to do is just spray some white Tamiya acrylic on this. Same thing we did on that stripe on the roof. And we're not going to worry about 100% coverage on it. I just want to basically get in here and you know, do the show you what it's going to look like when you pull the mask off. So we're going to get some paint on this. And like I say, we're not going to do a lot of covering in. And there might be some overspray on this, but we're not worried about that in this tutorial. This is just for basically masking this edge and creating this graphic. So for all you guys that are real keen on things out there, I'm glad that you're looking at my videos that close. But I just thought I'd bring out to everybody's attention that this is not a finished product, nor will it ever be. I'll probably paint over top of what we're doing here 5 or 6 times after this when I'm doing color experiments. We almost got it colored in here. And like I say, I'm not going to color it in real good. I'm just going to get an idea, give you, you know, do enough so you got an idea of what we're doing. Okay, that looks pretty good. Plus, I can get that done before the air compressor cuts on and you can't hear me. Okay, so all we did was we just sprayed some white Tamiya paint below our graphic there. So, same procedure that we did before. You're just going to grab a hold of your masking tape and you're going to pull away and back on top itself. And you will notice that this will tear. That's fine. Go ahead and tear that off where it wants to. You're not worried about that because we're not using this mask anymore. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to pull this off this direction. Now this here, you want to be very careful with this. I got a piece of mask left down in here. You want to just barely go underneath of a slightly raised edge there and grab a hold of it with your sharp number 11. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually poke a hole through the masking tape so I can pick it up with the blade like that. And then you can just go in and pull out the rest of that stripe. Now, that is the mask that we created. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. You can, if I can get my camera to pan in, there we go. You can see how clean that line is, all the way down. Nice, clean, sharp edges on it. Now, if you didn't want to put another color in between those two, you could actually clear over top of this and, you know, it would be a done deal. But I am going to go back on the one cab side that we done and show you how to put a split stripe in between these two colors. But that gives you an idea on how to create a mask and how to apply it to your model. And other than that, it's just a matter of going in with your airbrush and spraying, or even a can if you're going that route. But like I say, be very careful with doing that with a can, because I know on this particular body here, with the panel lines being so deep, if you try to use a can on this, I can almost guarantee you that it's going to bleed up where the panel lines are, because a can just puts out so much paint. So, I mean, there may be a little bit of truth to that thing of sealing the edge of the tape. I don't personally do that myself. I don't need to because I use an airbrush. So, but that gives you an idea on how to spray a graphic. And, you know, without using a decal, you can actually do this, you know, just by creating your own graphic and spraying it with an airbrush. Very simple procedure. So, we're going to leave you with that today. I'll work on a couple more videos here in the near future. And the next one will be on putting a split stripe in between these two colors. So any questions or concerns, just leave me a comment on the video, and I'll be more than glad to get back to you. And I thank you for watching this one, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.